The Central Committee of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party has decided to call for explanation from Minister Mervyn Silva over a statement he had made that the Central Committee of the party cannot take any action against him. A senior member of the party said that this decision was arrived at a Central Committee meeting last night. Meanwhile, speaking to News First from Japan via phone, Minister Mervyn Silva made a request to allow him to express his views in this regard.
Several individuals called me and asked me if a disciplinary inquiry is being held against me. I realized if it's a flood, we need not fear as it would recede. But if it's a tsunami, then we ought to take action. But the people of Sri Lanka have already faced a tsunami, so we need not fear. I will face this disciplinary inquiry without any fear. I will answer if a question is asked. As far as I know, I have not done anything wrong. Whatever is done, I will serve my people. I learned how to serve the people through the Rajapaksas, and I will not reduce this even by the slightest amount. I will serve the Kalani electorate as well as the Gampaha district.
Wildlife officials based at the National Wildlife Sanctuaries in the Polonnaruwa zone as well as wildlife range officers arrived at the Deputy Wildlife Director's office in the Polonnaruwa zone to hand over their weapons this morning. Wildlife officers based at the Maduroya, Vaskamuwa, Kawudulla and Minneria National Parks as well as range officers turned up at the Polonnaruwa Zone Deputy Wildlife Director's office in this manner.
However, the Deputy Director of the Mahaweli Wildlife Zone, A.H. Sumanasena, stated that he cannot accept the weapons handed over by wildlife officers without written authorization from his superiors. The wildlife officers then proceeded to store their weapons at the Polonnaruwa Deputy Wildlife Director's office. Wildlife officers state that they took this step as a result of the action taken by the Dehiyatta Kandiya police with regard to the death of a youth belonging to the indigenous community. The individual who died was wearing an army uniform with a weapon in one hand. He is not from the indigenous community, but the police investigation stated that the victim was from the indigenous community. Steps have been taken to arrest the wildlife officials, stating that they do not have the right to use weapons. We took this step as the police are conducting investigations favouring the other side. The Dehiyatta Kandiya police should be held fully responsible for the environmental pollution in the area. We made inquiries in this regard from the police media spokesperson SP Ajit Rohana. He stated that the police cannot work according to their likes and dislikes as the full authority in this regard lies with the court. Our reporter said that as the Deputy Wildlife Director did not accept the firearms, the wildlife officials were made to take them back. Meanwhile, Minister of Wildlife and Agrarian Services S.M. Chandrasena, convening a media briefing, stated that if a wildlife official is handing over his weapon, then he cannot be considered suitable to do his job. According to the Wildlife Act, a weapon is issued to wildlife officials to protect the wildlife. If they are handing over their weapons due to an unwanted problem, then I think they are not suitable for their jobs. They can hand over the weapons and go home. I have nothing else to say. There should be discipline. If there is no discipline, they can go home and we can recruit others. There is no problem.
Still in local news, today is the second day of the 18th Sirasa Kadamandiya, which is currently underway at the Brahmachari Valisingha Harishchandra grounds in Anuradhapura. According to its organisers, Kadamandiya will be open to the public from 10 a.m. tomorrow and the day after.
Sirasa Kadamandiya, which offers loads of entertainment, also comprises 100 trade stalls where visitors can buy goods needed for the festive season at bargain prices. A large number of people were present at the Sirasa Kadamandiya yesterday. Youth in the area have the opportunity to take part in screen tests that are being conducted at the special News First studio set up at the venue. A musical show featuring the popular band Sidua Sakura was held last night.
Chairman of the Export Development Board, Janaka Ratnayaka, says that the export sector in the country grew by 20% last year. He points out that if this trend is maintained over the next 2 years, then the government's target of $15 billion in export revenue can be achieved by 2015.
The chief guest on the third day of the Expo 2012 exhibition, organised to promote the export, investment and tourism sectors in Sri Lanka, was Minister of Economic Development Basil Rajapaksa. A large number of investors and buyers representing 58 nationalities are participating in the Expo 2012 exhibition.
When the matured world economies are suffering with sluggish economic growth, with sour index crises, or maybe political turmoil as you see in Middle East, the Sri Lanka has been basically progressing very well, having achieved more than 8% growth rate. On top of that, if you look at the export figures for last 2 years, we have a growth rate of more than 22%. By considering these factors, we thought this is the right time to stage a show like this, where we attract the trading partners, investors, and other stakeholders into the country and let them see what we have on offer. To reach 15 billion in 2015, we should be able to achieve in 2015 if we continue at this rate for next 2 years.
The Expo 2012 International Trade Exhibition will conclude tomorrow. The Paddy Marketing Board laid the foundation today to resolve the issue being faced by farmers in 7 divisional secretariat areas under the Galloya scheme due to their inability to sell paddy from the last harvest at the government stipulated price. The harvesting of paddy commenced in mid-January this year in the relevant areas. The harvesting of paddy in the majority of fields under the Galloya scheme has now concluded. In the past 2 months, Action TV has revealed on 4 occasions the hardships being faced by these farmers as a result of the inability to sell their harvest at the government stipulated price. On the 25th of January, Action TV pointed out the importance of properly implementing the stipulated price mechanism in the relevant areas this harvest season, considering the issues which cropped up during the last season when the Paddy Marketing Board tried to implement the government's stipulated price mechanism. Although the heads of the Paddy Marketing Board, who gathered the next day at the Ampara District Secretary's office, stated that they had prepared a plan to ensure that this time's paddy harvest from the Ampara District would be purchased at the stipulated price, the next 4 Action TV exposés proved that this was a hollow statement. Although the Paddy Marketing Board had prepared 58 storage facilities to store paddy purchased from the farmers from these 7 divisional secretariat areas during the last harvest, as of Friday, only 4 storages had been prepared to receive paddy from the current harvest. As the 26 storage facilities belonging to the Paddy Marketing Board are currently full with paddy harvested in the previous season, the board has taken measures from today to direct paddy purchased from the farmers from the current harvest to the government food storage facility in Weyangoda. 27 container trucks were used today alone for this purpose. Throughout the day, lorries were also used in 26 locations in the 7 divisional secretariat areas to purchase paddy. It would have been better if this program was implemented before. As farmers, we are extremely thankful for this. Truly, the Sirasa Media Network rendered a great service towards this. However, if measures are not taken to process the paddy collected over 5 harvests in the 26 storage facilities belonging to the Paddy Marketing Board under the Galloya Development Scheme into rice, then the storage problem will arise in the next harvest season as well, and it will be near impossible to prevent massive, unbearable losses being incurred by a resurgent Paddy Marketing Board.